Welcome to the Creative Chats podcast with Mike Brennan. Welcome to another episode of Creative Chats. It's the podcast for artists, makers, and content creators where we talk about creativity, the creative process, and story. I'm your host, Mike Brennan. You can connect with me over on my website, which is mikebrennan.me, or even over on Instagram, I'm at MikeBone. And I have an amazing episode for you today. But before we get to that, I wanted to let you know that I create resources for people just like you, people who are creating things, who want to create things, and maybe who are struggling a little bit. So I want to invite you to go over to dailycreativehabit.com. You can pick up a copy of the Daily Creative Habit Journal. It's a 90-day sprint designed to help you set intention and purpose and take action on your creative goals. And that is available there, as well as some other free resources. We have a free Facebook group, and I just love creating these resources for you as a creator. It just helps you get traction. It helps you show up and do the things that you want to do to actually start to see some results. Now, on today's podcast, I get to sit down with Austin Armstrong. I met Austin at an event this past November, and we hit it off right away. He's a great guy who's a digital marketer and an entrepreneur. He has created a platform that's called Syllaby. And we talk a little bit about what Syllaby is, which, a little spoiler, it is a platform that helps you record video and schedule it and really just leverage that on social media platforms to gain more of a following. And he has figured out some secrets over the years, just doing it himself, honestly. And he's sharing that with you, not only with this platform, but he also gets into a little bit of his journey, his entrepreneurial journey, what that looked like, some ups and downs, and some strategic relationships that he had along the way. So if you're somebody who has been thinking, man, I am just getting beat up by the algorithm, I can't seem to get any traction on any of my social media platforms, or maybe you're new to this entrepreneurial thing, you're a creative person who is also finding that you need to have a business side, this is for you as well. I hope that you enjoy this conversation that I have with Austin. I know that you'll want to check out Syllaby and his social media platforms as well. Learn from him all that you can. So without further ado, here is my creative chat with Austin Armstrong. Well, hey, welcome to the Creative Chats podcast, Austin. Dude, I am so excited that you're here today.
Yeah, Mike, thank you so much for having me on. It was awesome to meet you in person and hang out with you and chat with you for a little bit. And I'm so glad that we could line up this follow-up call and have an awesome conversation, man.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I mean, I think from immediately when I met you at the Thing conference in Orlando this past November, it was just like, we had such great conversation, and I was like, oh, I know. When you meet good people, you're just like, you got to keep them around. You got to keep conversations going and keep getting to know them better and better. So I'm excited to kind of unfold a little bit more of your story that I don't know yet, and do that for not only my sake, but the sake of the people who are listening today as well. So I'm excited to get into this.
I'm a pretty open book. So whatever you got, throw it at me. Hopefully it inspires and motivates some people along the way, and they just get like a little window into the glimpse of who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to start things with just kind of dialing things way back. Do you recall anything from being a kid where you were involved with either creative activities or certain things that you kind of left a mark on you that's like, oh, you know what? I really enjoy this part of creativity.
Creativity. Okay. So the first thing that I've always been entrepreneurial, that's where my mind first went, but then I had a second thought. So from a creativity perspective, I've always been imaginative play. And so what I mean by that is I had a bunch of action figures, and I would have, entire role play worlds and like a universe and subplot lines, because I loved anime and I loved all these shows, and I had, dozens of action figures, and I would have this whole, world that I built in my mind with these inanimate objects and continuous plot lines throughout. So that was pretty early. And then as far as entrepreneurial, I've always had that mindset. I mean, the some of the earliest actions that I remember taking on that were in middle school, selling pixie sticks at school, which actually got banned from our school because it became a problem. So what I would do is I would say, "Mom, can I have $1?" I went to the dollar store and get a pack of 100 pixie sticks for $1, and then I'd bring them in my backpack to middle school, and I'd sell each one for a quarter, or like 5 for $1 or something like that. Like pretty good economics there. And that was really early on. And then like even at age 14, I got started as a content creator on Myspace. I loved MySpace. It hooked me in. I figured out pretty quickly how to grow large followings and develop different streams of income from that. And at 14, 15, 16 years old, that was really influential in my growth. But those are just a couple of the things that come to mind, remembering back.
Yeah. I always love asking that question because typically there's like at least seeds of some things that are happening now. And even if it's
Yeah.
not a direct one for one of like, this looks exactly like it looked like there's at least a sense of, if people enjoy building something, they were typically involved with blocks or things of building,
Mhm.
that kind of nature.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've always had this vision and this ability to imagine what could be possibilities, right? And so to be
Yeah.
able to lean into that, even at an early age, I mean, of growing an audience and figuring that piece out. I mean, there are still so many. I mean, that's probably one of the most challenging things for people today in the online space is figuring out, how do I get an audience? How do I grow a platform and so that what I'm doing can get in front of more people and stuff? It sounds like you've done that since a very early age and figured some pieces out, right? I mean, was that
Yeah.
intentional?
It was a lot easier on MySpace when there were no algorithms, if I can go take it back a little bit there. So I don't know what drew me to it. Maybe a little bit of healthy narcissism or a need for recognition. But I had saw people on there that had a large amount of following, a lot of followers, and I don't know why, but I just wanted it. I wanted that. I think I early on, like, a little ego. I mean, like, I was like a good looking, cute little kid. And, people always were like, "Why aren't you famous yet?" And I think I always kind of wanted that in some weird way. You get, Nickelodeon magazine and you watch these kids on these shows. And I always wanted to be that kid on the show. Um, and I think maybe that's why it drew me in so much. But when I first started, like, growing on MySpace, exactly what I did was like follow for follow, which is bad advice in today's age. Don't do that. That's not your target market, whatever. But it was all about, like, back then was all about just numbers. It wasn't about being strategic with who you're getting to follow you. It was just mass marketing numbers. And so I would just connect with as many people as I possibly could. And a fair amount of them would accept, and that would grow my followers. And then what we did from there is we all commute. You start to connect with other people that are in that interest group and that are also interested in growing their following online. And so we started connecting on AIM, AOL Instant
Oh
Messenger,
man.
if anyone remembers that back in the day. And every single day, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day, we would get in these big AIM group chats, these where there'd be 50, 100 people in there. And we would do they're sort of, they were called like trains, where it's my turn. So I post my HTML code to follow me, to follow my profile, and everyone in that chat would copy and paste that into their message board area. If you remember back on MySpace, and they would all, so 50 people would post, "Go follow Austin," right? And then we'd go through this process where then everybody else in the group, is their turn, and it was like crazy early collaborations. We were influencers before that was a term. it was really fascinating. And then there's a lot of different ways that I ended up being able to monetize that through email lead generation. I was contracted by like local bands and t-shirt companies to help sell. And the other really cool thing that I'm pretty much doing now with my company Syllaby, I had a really brilliant web designer and web developer friend that we built a website. It was called getads.net. Doesn't exist anymore, of course. This was a long time ago. But basically, it was an early SaaS company that simulated what we were doing in AIM groups. So you could list your profile on here, and people were sharing it every single day, and it was helping people grow their following on MySpace. And you could pay for premium placement at the top of that train, it was called. And it had this really crazy network effect of it was just constantly sharing and spreading. And all we needed to do is fuel it. So like I was using my large following to create tools and to help other people grow their following online. And fast forward to now, 20 years later, I'm doing the exact same thing, which I think is fascinating in retrospect. But yeah, I've always, to just kind of summarize that to your point, I've always kind of been attracted to that and finding out how to get people to follow me. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You know, my wife has joked before I'd make a good cult leader, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll end my ramblings there for the time being.
It's an interesting progression for sure. Was this something that you thought early on? Like, did you have entrepreneurship modeled to you? Did you know that this was actually like a legitimate path? No, huh?
Nope. No, there were no entrepreneurs in my family. And that's why I've come to believe that like you can become an entrepreneur, but being entrepreneurial, I really think you're just born with it. You can be inspired by other people, but at least with my own anecdotal experience, there was no one around me that was an entrepreneur. Nobody in my family on either side, nobody I knew was entrepreneurial. So I don't really know where that came from. It just kind of came naturally.
Yeah. I would imagine that the more you leaned into it, the more that you created, the more you saw success in that. It just continued to feed this and prove to yourself that you can actually do this and this is viable, right?
Well, it did and it didn't, to be honest. So I had a lot of early success with it, but if I'm being honest, I didn't realize that it would be a career path until later on. And so when MySpace kind of died, there was definitely a several year lull in me doing anything. I was very active on early YouTube, and but I wasn't a video creator at first, and I didn't think that. I don't know why. I just didn't. You know, there was no one in my life saying, keep doing this, keep staying consistent. That'd be the biggest thing. Like if I could go back and talk to myself, like, don't freaking quit, keep going. You'll be even farther. But yeah, there was, I got back into it 11 years ago in video marketing. That's really where I've been consistent in the agency space and marketing and content creation in my professional journey. But there was definitely a several year gap there where I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, you have that early, like early 20s, late teens, like what do I want to do with my life? You know, pressure from school that says the only path in life is a 4-year college degree. And then you get a job and you work 9 to 5 and this is the path. Right. And that was definitely not my path. I was definitely born to be an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur now for almost 7 years, I guess. And that was definitely my path, but it wasn't that straightforward. I wish that it was, but I don't think anyone's journey is that straightforward.
No. Yeah. The more and more I talk to people, the more I realize that, looking backwards, you can connect a lot more dots, but when you're in the middle of something, it's cloudy and you're like,
definitely,
man, this thing can go up in flames at any minute. Like I don't really know what's happening here. And so to have these conversations, I think is really valuable. I love having these because there may be somebody listening right now who, they're pursuing their creativity for their livelihood. They're trying to figure out what that looks like to be a creative entrepreneur. And they may be in the thick of it and going like, I'm not even sure what my next
Yeah.
step is. I'm not even sure how this is going to progress to be what I envision it to be. And so,
Yeah.
these conversations can be like the lifeline, a bit of hope for someone in the midst of that. I know that was my story in the past, right? And those moments where it's critical, where you need to look to somebody else's example to go, okay, this is normal, this is natural, right? Besides the thought of being consistent way back, right? Is there anything else that you wish someone would have told you, or something maybe that someone did tell you that was really a lifeline for you?
Oh, that's such a good question. Um, not not that I can think of from a really early on perspective, but when I started my professional career, that's what really helped me stay consistent over the last 11 years now, is that I stumbled into an internship uh, with my now business partner, but he was very much a mentor and believed in me and invested in me. And having someone like that is really impactful and really helpful. And I wish everybody could experience that. I know that I was very fortunate. It's just the timing of the circumstance and sticking with it. It wasn't
Yeah.
always easy, but you know, this guy invested in my sales training. He sent me all around the country to different conferences and networking events. And we just saw this big picture and goal together. And it took a long time, but we've really accomplished it. We've been business partner now on two separate businesses. He was my business partner on my agency. He's my business partner on Syllaby. And we've really grown like this empire. I still feel like we're just getting started, but like, having someone that took me from being an unpaid intern. I had a mohawk at the time and
Nice.
tattoos, and I just moved out to California, and I was like a little wild and crazy. And I worked my way up through being an unpaid intern to a paid intern to a part-time employee to a full-time employee to working at several different companies. He's been a serial entrepreneur. And so having someone like that in my life was definitely influential. And so I would say no matter, where you're at in your journey, no matter how old you are, even try and find somebody that is where you want to be, or at least a little bit further than you are, and just watch them. Maybe it's someone online, maybe it's someone that is not directly accessible to you right now, but you can watch and learn from them. Maybe they're creating a lot of content. Maybe it's, like Gary Vee is a very common like mentor to a lot of people, where they're like, I've never met Gary, I've never talked to Gary, but I listen to his podcast, I read all of his books, I've seen him speak at conferences, all of this stuff, and just continue with that path. Yeah, I don't know if there's a specific moment, but that's what really
Yeah.
comes to me. Let me turn that around on you, because this is a conversation, right? I want to learn
Sure.
more
Yeah.
about you too, Mike.
Sure.
Was there a moment in your life, whether early on or later on, that really impacted you and your creative journey?
Yeah. I mean, I think I feel like I've lived in decades, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so every 10 years or so, there's been some kind of reset, whether there's been some kind of move or job change up, career change up, loss, whatever that's been. And so I think having some strategic relationships that have been there in place, whether they've been friends who can help give some perspective that's outside yourself, especially as you're trying to navigate things that are a little more heavy in life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's been really important. As a matter of fact, I've shared about my mental health journey and how I was basically suffering from depression, didn't even realize it because I was high functioning,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in a leadership position where you just had to get things done, and so
Yeah.
because of that, I thought depression's like when you can't get out of bed. It's when you're just on the couch and not motivated, and that's all
Yeah.
that looks like. And me going, no, actually, these people around me who are saying that I'm suffering from depression, they're right. And so getting the help that was needed and some of the changes that came along with that, that were difficult, but that was extremely valuable to have people speak into my life and care for me at a point at which I wasn't even aware or self-aware enough for certain things. And then of course, in amongst the skill set type of things with creativity, with graphic design and illustration, fine art, there have been those moments too where I've been able to learn from somebody, like you said, someone who's a little further along, someone who's willing to share some of the trade secrets, if you will, or the techniques, people who are open-handed. I think so much comes from relationship, and we don't
Yeah, absolutely.
realize that. And sometimes we don't prioritize for that. And I think it's a good reminder to not just get stuck in busy mode and do mode and put your head down and all the things. Yes, we need to get things done. And yes, we need to be productive and efficient. But if we sacrifice relationship in regards to that, we're not going to end up being the person that we need to be while we're doing the things that we're called to do,
Yeah. Absolutely. I think I really admire what you've done recently too, of like moving out to Nashville, right? Finding that community, being around people like Terry and Cabrina, and just having that tribe of people, and that little like pod together to
Yeah.
motivate each other. I think that's so cool, man.
Yeah. And, there are times in your life where you're just like, you don't know that those changes are coming, but you do the
Yeah,
best you can when you're in the moment. And for me, this was a
absolutely.
season where I knew that I wanted to do this a while ago. It was just
Yeah.
that life circumstances had to kind of align for me to be able to
Yeah.
take that next step. And now
Yeah.
I'm in a new decade of my life and
Yeah.
new place and
Oh,
exploring all those things.
that's
So,
awesome.
but yeah, you're right. It's good it's important to surround yourself with people who can be that support system, to help you navigate life and business, all those things.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
So I want to ask you about Syllabi now, and
Sure.
before I do, just context here, for people listening. This is AI driven. And of course, whenever you talk about AI, and especially within creative circles, there is a little bit of a hornet's nest because people have seen how AI has mistreated creative, solutions and that whole thing. Which I don't necessarily
Hmm.
want to go there, but just knowing that the
Yeah.
audience listening now might be a little bit more tentative on embracing AI, completely understanding what is truly beneficial about this and what may be a danger. Um, can you talk about where the idea for this came from, what it is, give some context, and how this might be helpful, and this conversation might be helpful for someone who's skeptical right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So at a high level, Syllabi is a tool that lets you create, schedule, publish, and automate videos on any topic to your social media. So you could imagine creating a month's worth of targeted videos on social media and being able to schedule and publish it to every single one of your social media platforms in about 10 minutes. So that you can focus more on doing what you love and what you're passionate about. And you don't have to stress over social media. That's really the big goal of it. With that said, it's not entirely AI. Syllabi is a workflow tool. I just want to help people create better, more consistent videos, so that they can be more successful content creators online. This is a very mission driven business for me. The idea from Syllabi came from my long history in social media. Uh, Video marketing in particular has completely changed my life. It has given me everything that I've wanted, the life that I've wanted, the revenue that I've wanted. I've achieved pretty much every goal over the last decade that I have set for myself. There are a couple. This year I turned 35, and I had actually set several goals for my life by the time that I turned 35, and I am almost have accomplished all of them, which is pretty amazing. But for me personally, and so I just wanted to provide the tips, tools, and strategies to help change other people's lives as well with this path for those that resonate with this, people that want to create content, people that want to develop different streams of income online, people that want to save time in their business, in their life, because they don't have to spend so much time on some of these tasks. And so through 20 years of social media marketing experience, through 11 years of video marketing experience, creating well over 10,000 videos in different niches, getting billions of organic views, gaining millions of followers personally and for our clients online, I turn that into repeatable processes within a software that is Syllaby. And so what Syllaby does, getting a little bit more into it, is we'll show you topic ideas and questions that people are searching for online on any topic. So if you're a marketer and you know what a keyword research tool is, think of it as that way. You can type in something related to your industry or a service that you offer or an emotional pain point, or just even something for fun, ancient history or anything like that. And this is not AI. This is real data that we pull in from search engines and from social media. It will show you real topics and questions and search volume and trend lines on all of these topics, so you can make educated decisions on what content to create. From there, you can easily generate a video script with AI following my best practices. So this is one of the little nuances. It leverages my structure of a script online, but it is generated with AI. Or you have the ability to enter your own script. You can type something in on that topic however you want. You have that free, full custom control. And then within just a click, you can generate a video leveraging that script. So you can do AI avatars, which you can use our stock avatars, or you can create an AI real clone deepfake of yourself. It's only accessible to you. Nobody else has access to it. Or you can create a faceless video. This is a really trending format of content online. This is a huge flagship product for us because sometimes people just don't like to be on camera, or they can't be on camera for whatever reason. And I've just tried to eliminate the excuse of like, I feel drained. I don't feel good. I can't create a video today. Well, now you can do it from your phone in a minute. You can create, schedule, publish a video, like a faceless video that isn't your face in a minute. And then you can link and connect all of your social media accounts. We currently support YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And you can schedule and publish out. You can even create up to a month's worth of content and schedule that out ahead of time. And we also have a custom video editor in Syllaby as well. So if you want to create, you want to still create and be the creator, you can find topic ideas, write scripts, or generate scripts. You create the content, you edit the content however you want, and then you can use our scheduler to schedule and publish that out to all of your social media platforms. So whether you want, we really wanted to embrace creating content wherever you're at and whatever your comfort level with AI is. So you can use AI pretty much every step of the way if you want, or you can just use pieces of it, or you can just come in and be like, I've already created a video. I love editing it myself. I just need a tool to schedule all of my videos out to all of the social media platforms. And you can do it as a workflow tool that way. So it's not all AI. It depends on your comfort level. That's one of the things that separates us. And you can kind of use Syllaby however you want to speed up your processes. And we've made it very affordable for everybody as well.
It sounds like, as you're describing that, there were certainly pain points that you've probably experienced yourself in the past that you're like,
of course,
I'm using this as I'm the model because I know I've struggled with this. I know that people in general, these are themes that keep coming up again and again. As someone says, I don't know what to create, or I don't have the time to create it, or
100%.
I create stuff and then I'm a victim of the algorithm, right? I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure you've heard those and more. what are the things, maybe what are a couple of tips that you could offer somebody who, is struggling with some of those things I just mentioned, where you could be like, here's something that either can help you get a little traction, or maybe even just a myth that somebody has believed because it just seems to be part of the lore of when you show up online, this is what happens.
Yeah. Well, know that it's a journey. It's not a sprint. So you can't just get online and if you build it, they will come does not happen in social media landscape. So
Yeah.
if you want to create content, this has to be a new thing that you do. You have to commit to this. You have to stay consistent. Going to the gym, eating healthy, brushing your teeth, whatever your habits are, right? This has to become a habit. With that said, there are some really practical pieces of advice that I can give, that I'm happy to give, to help you grow a little bit faster. One is steal like an artist. As you're creating content, look at what has already worked in your space. Do some research, do some competitive research. Go on YouTube, type or TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or any platform that you want, and look at what are the top videos. How are they structured? How break everything down. What is the opening hook? How are they holding attention throughout? What is the length of that video? What is on screen? Is it a talking head? Is it a faceless video? Is it a combination of the two? Is it heavily edited? All of these things. Mark down titles specifically for YouTube Shorts. The only thing, or the most influential thing, not the only thing, titles. Titles matter on YouTube Shorts. It is probably the singular most important factor for shorts to get views. And it's why I repeat the same title over and over and over again. When a title works, you can change the video, change the script, change the subject matter in the video, use literally copy and paste. I'm not saying like it's a similar title. Use the same word for word title every single time. So when you're doing competitive research online, take a title that got hundreds of thousands, millions of views, recreate the video. It's your own unique thing. Take their title, use that title, maybe tweak it a little bit if you want, until you've got that format. Depending on your comfort level, like I don't see the title of a video being plagiarism or anything like that. It's just the title of a video. Oftentimes it comes from like a keyword research tool anyway.
Right.
Don't plagiarize the script. Don't plagiarize anything else like that. The title of the video, create a similar thumbnail, like steal like an artist, right? There's different psychological elements that you can work in your content that work really well. Polarizing statements, black and white statements. We don't live in a black and white world. Take a stance. Do something intentionally wrong to elicit an emotional response. This depends on your level of comfort as a creator, but know that perfectionism is procrastination. And we live in an online world filled with trolls, and you can leverage those trolls to increase your overall engagement. So a quick example of this is I will share useful websites online to help business owners and content creators and entrepreneurs. And when I hold my phone up or camera up to show the URL, right below it, I will plant a folder like Donald Trump NUD ... So it looks like it says Donald Trump nude. Or something like this, something crazy. You don't have to go as extreme as I do. Or I'll talk about a website like DaVinci Resolve is a free online video editor. And I'll say DaVinci and mispronounce it on purpose. I've been doing this for years, every single time without a doubt. People will run to the comments. They will correct my pronunciation. They will point out the folder that I put in there. They will say why their anecdotal evidence agrees or disagrees with the black and white statement that I made, and what is happening. It's increasing my engagement. As they're leaving that comment, the video is still playing in the background, so it increases my average view duration. These are all really important elements that if you stack those two things together, like a title that really works, the packaging, and some of these psychological elements, I guarantee that you will grow a lot faster. You're going to get more watch time. You're going to get more clicks. You're going to get more viewership. You're going to get more engagement, and stay consistent with that.
I'm sure that there's also the contextualization piece, right? Because someone listening just now may have been like, "Ooh, I don't know. I don't necessarily want to
Totally.
engage in something that's a little polarizing,
Yep.
or
Yep.
I'm more of a peacekeeper."
Yep.
So I think it's important to definitely listen to who you are and what's true to you,
Yep.
and figure out the tactics that work for you, right? I mean, that's honestly, at the end of the day, what should be happening, is that it's strategy, it's not hope,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Oh, of course.
yeah, leaning into these things, making sure, because there's a proven track record with some of these things, right? And maybe it's even trying some things and seeing, does this work for me?
Yeah.
How does this feel? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about experimentation. Like on this marathon that is marketing and content creation, test theories, test everything, test opening hooks, test different things that you can put in the background of your video, like depending on your comfort level. If you have an interesting hobby, put something in the background that reflects that. You'll probably attract some people that are like, oh, I'm also a fan of XYZ. That's really interesting. And connect with them on that level. You don't have to like get absurd with stuff. I've put this example out there a million times. I haven't seen anyone do it yet, but I would love like a real estate agent to do a house tour video and just have someone in a Bigfoot costume just in the backyard run from behind one tree to another tree. Don't even mention it. Just have them just like walk like this real quick. That would get so many comments. It would cause rewatches of the videos. There's like, just have fun with this stuff. Like, you can be professional, but I also think people buy from people. And if you're just a robot, I'm not going to buy from you. I want to buy from a person that I want to talk to, that I resonate with, that I think is a good person. And that might, that might vary industry to industry a
Sure.
little bit, but like, let your personality shine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Great points. Great points for sure. And it sounds like you've set up so much within Syllabi to address the concerns that people have, to give them practical tools, give them next
Yeah.
steps. Because I'm sure if somebody's listening and they're thinking, researching keywords, I've never done that before in my life. I don't even know exactly what that even means or whatever. Like, you taking that pressure off and saying, here, I've set you up for success here, and I've given you something that's easy and accessible. I love that then empowers people to create.
Yes.
And I'm all about finding the right tools for the right project that you're working on. And if someone is looking to harness social media better, you've created this resource for people. So I think that's awesome. I think it's
Thank
something,
you.
again, that people can get in there and contextualize for themselves and figure out what they want to use, what they don't want to use, what resonates. And at the end of the day, I think you've created the ability for people to leverage this and get seen more, get heard more. And ultimately, at the end of the day, isn't that what we all want, right? Because we're doing something we believe in. I mean, I hope, right? Otherwise, don't do it, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to get that in front of more people and say, like, I want to see people's lives impacted. I want to see growth and change and evolution in some things, as well as myself. And so this is a way for people to do that. Where can people go to get this? Where can people come to follow you if they're interested in finding out more of the content you put out there? Lay some links on us.
Yeah, so the website is syllabi.io. That's syllaby.io. I'd also highly recommend joining our Facebook group. It's Syllabi Content Creators. We've got about 20,000 people in there. It's really become a very inspiring community of people. We've really nurtured this into it. Like I was kind of saying, that this is really mission driven for me. And so we have so many people in there that have never created a single video in their life. They didn't know what was possible. They just had this idea. And every single day I see posts in there like, 30 days into Syllaby, I didn't know this was possible. I just crossed 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel. This is amazing. And then you see a slew of comments being supporting one another. We hold weekly free webinars on Zoom with guest experts teaching digital marketing content, whether you're a subscriber or not, and teaching different monetization streams. It's just a really supportive community if you want to grow online. Whether you use Syllaby or not, all are welcome into that community. And that's called Syllaby Content Creators on Facebook. And then for me, I'm active pretty much everywhere. My name's Austin Armstrong. My personal website's austinarmstrong.ai that has a lot of my links on there and bio and all that fun stuff. If you just look me up, I am the nerdy with AI, or nerdy AI with glasses, Austin Armstrong. I am not the defensive football coach of the Florida Gators, Austin Armstrong, nor am I the attractive male vlogger in LA that's 6'5", Austin Armstrong. That's a very popular influencer. I'm right there in the middle.
Love it. And I can just attest to the Facebook group. I'm a part of that. And one of the things that I've seen is that even if you're not necessarily using some of the things yet, or you're just like, I don't even know, I'm curious, right? That's a good place to start, because seeing how people are using things, seeing the questions people are asking can even get the wheels turning and going like, oh, that's interesting. I never thought about that before. So, and that's free. And so that may be even a good way to segue into something and say, I want to learn more. I want to be curious in a place to be able to do that. So appreciate you setting that up as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah, this has been fun. I'm glad we were able to dive a little bit deeper today and continue our conversation.
Absolutely.
I know that we'll have some more time offline even to be able to hang and get to know each other better. So I look forward
positive
to that.
We will.
Yes. And so thanks again for this time today. And thanks for creating some resources for people to go and create and help change their part of the world.
Thank you. I hope this was helpful to everyone.
Thanks for listening today. I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe, leave a rating and a review. It really helps this podcast be seen and heard by others.